Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time, in my opinion, is a pretty crazy one. I think you guys will enjoy it. The story time is one that I've been waiting to tell for a while. I haven't told a story time like this one for a long time. So if you want to see more videos like this one, leave a like on the video and I will know to do more. But before I get into this, just want to say, disclaimer, don't go out and try stuff just because you hear it in a story time. These videos are solely for your entertainment only. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy this story time, and let's jump right into it. So this story time takes place in the summer of 2016. I was hanging out with three good friends of mine at the time. I was just hanging out with them at my friend's house, and my friend was having a little bit of a party. Now, my friend's yard was a huge yard. He owned a lot of land, like he had a really big house. It was like the best house ever to throw parties at because his parents didn't care, and he just had like a ton of property. Like there was so much space in his backyard, and it was just an awesome house to say the least, okay? So yeah, my friend's throwing this party in his backyard in the summer of 2016. There was probably about 25 or 30 people there. So it was like a good sized party. You know, we were all just hanging out. My friend was having a bonfire. Everyone was listening to music, just kind of having a good time. And then my friend walks up to me, a different friend, not the one hosting the party, a different one. And he's like, "Yo, bro, come here for a sec." Now, I already knew when he was walking me over to talk to me alone that he was about to ask me one of two things. One was, where's the bathroom? Because he'd never been to this house before. Or he was probably about to ask me to do shrooms with him. And I'd probably be like, "Austin, how did you know that?" Well, this dude was a shroom head, okay? Like, this man would constantly be rocking with the shrooms at all times. So I had a feeling he was going to ask me that because it wouldn't be the first time. And sure enough, I was right. He pulls me over to the side, and he's like, "Yo, bro, want to do shrooms with me?" I'm like, "Dude, nah, man. Like, it's not that type of night. Like, I'm not in the mood for that right now." He's like, "Bro, like, the best environment you could be in is with all your best friends. And I already got two of them on board." And I'm like, "Who?" And he says two names that I did not expect to be on board with this. And I was like, "I don't know, man. I don't think it's a good idea." And he's like, "Nah, man. Like, just trust me. You'll have a good time. I'll give you like 30 minutes to think on it. Let me know in like 30 minutes what your answer is." I'm like, "All right, man. I appreciate that." So I go and sit down at the bonfire with some other friends of mine. And I'm just sitting there thinking about the offer I just got. And I was glad that he wasn't trying to peer pressure me because that's something that just, makes me not want to do anything when someone tries to peer pressure me. So I think about it for a little bit and I decide I'm going to do it. Now, for many different reasons, this was not a good idea. I was definitely not in the right headspace to be doing something like that with my friends. I was not feeling very good at the time. I had pulled an all-nighter the night before, so I was extremely exhausted and sleep deprived. Like, there was a lot of things adding up in my mind that made this a really bad idea. But for some reason, I walked up to my friend and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm down." He's like, "Yes, let's go. Like, good to have you on board, bro." And we all wander into the forest after this, like right after I say yes. Me and my few friends go into this forest with nothing but our phone lights. We have no flashlights, just phones. And we all go in there. We get to the middle of the forest. My friend takes the shrooms out, and we all take them together. And we just sit there and wait in this cold, dark forest. Now, after we take them, we sit in this forest for about an hour, just sitting there talking in a circle, and they finally start to kick in, and I immediately start feeling the effects, and I immediately start having a panic attack, like straight away. I start hearing things that aren't there, I start seeing things, and it's also really dark in the forest, so like it's hard to see at the same time. So all of that mixed together, mixed with my lack of sleep and my bad headspace, created one giant, just enormous panic attack, okay? Like, huge panic attack. I'm freaking out in the middle of this forest. My friends walk over to me. They're like, "Yo, calm down, bro. Like, you're just tripping out. Like, you're fine. Just breathe. Do some breathing exercises. Like, it's just a bad trip. You'll be fine." So I start trying to do some breathing exercises, and nothing's working. My heart rate doesn't seem to be slowing down. And that was, like, the one thing that was really bothering me. Like, everything else obviously sucked, but I could handle it for the most part. But the heart rate not slowing down was really difficult for me. So I had this bright idea. And by bright idea, I mean absolutely fucking stupid idea, to start running to take my mind off the heart rate thing. I think that if I just run really fast, I'll be more focused on running and my breathing than my own heart rate. But in reality, that was a terrible idea because I'm having anxiety, which means my heart rate's flying, and running is only going to make it way faster and just way worse. But I didn't think about that part. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run. So yeah, I just take off running in the opposite direction, just running as fast as I can, just trying not to think about this bad trip that I'm having and this huge anxiety attack. And I'm just running and running, and my friends are chasing after me, trying to catch me because they had no idea I was going to do this. I didn't tell them. I just took off running by myself, which was also a terrible idea. And yeah, I'm running just full speed. My friends are chasing after me. They're yelling my name. And then one of my friends starts yelling, "Austin! Austin, stop, stop." And I hear him say something, and I think he said, "It's a trick." He's like, "It's a trick, it's a trick." And I didn't know what he was saying, so I turn around, and as I turn around, I trip over a branch, and I start rolling. I fall over, and I didn't realize it, but he was saying it's a cliff. I was about to run off a cliff. My bad luck basically saved my life. I tripped over a branch and rolled down and fell, and I was just on the edge of a cliff when I stopped rolling. I was completely on the edge. Like, if I would have rolled over one more time, I would have fallen. And if I would have kept running, I would have fallen right off the cliff. And that cliff was very high. Like, where I'm from, we don't have a ton of high cliffs, but this one was high enough to the point where if I fell, I would either break a bunch of my bones and be seriously hurt, or I would probably, the other option. Not good. So I lay there on the cold ground for like a minute, just staring up into the stars, like super out of it. My heart's flying. I can barely breathe from running. Like, I was having the definition of not a good night, like, at all. And I'm trying to catch my breath, and I'm trying to, focus myself on the stars so I, stop thinking about what just happened. But the whole time, everything's moving around, and, I kind of forgot that I was on shrooms. So after I catch my breath and kind of calm down, my friend helps me up, and he's like, yo, we're going home right now. Like, you can't be out in these woods. It's not safe. So he walks me back to the house. He sits me down at the bonfire with some other friends of mine that were just kind of sitting there the whole night. And they start talking to me about what just happened and, how I shouldn't be in the woods while I'm tripping. And I totally agree with them. I thought that was not a good idea at all. But in the end, I thought that was it, right? I was like, okay, it can't get any worse from here. Like, I almost just died, but I'm good now. I'm fine. Like, nothing else could go wrong. Oh, I was so wrong. 5 minutes later, I start hearing police sirens out front. And I'm like, that can't be for us, right? And I look over, and there's blue and red lights all over my friend's house. There's 2 police cars in the driveway, and they're breaking up the party. So I immediately get up and run back into the woods, because the last thing I wanted was to talk to police while I was going through this huge anxiety attack and on shrooms, because I just knew that wasn't a good idea at all. So I run into the forest by myself this time. So way worse idea, because I'm by myself. And I just walk around aimlessly for like 30 minutes just lost. And my phone was buzzing the whole time, but for some reason I was completely ignoring it because I didn't want to look at my phone because I knew that the screen would be all like messed up and, moving around from the fact that I was tripping. So I just walked around aimlessly with no sense of direction whatsoever. But this time I was a lot more careful about where I was stepping and just everything in front of me, because the last thing I wanted to do was almost walk off a cliff or almost fall off a cliff for the second time. So yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to do. So yeah, I walk around aimlessly for like 20 more minutes, and then finally I answer my phone when it's buzzing, and it's my friend that I was tripping with, the one that had the shrooms, and he was like, yo, where are you? I'm like, I'm in the woods. He's like, bro, I'm coming to get you. Don't walk off any cliffs. Stay where you are. Just wait till I'm in there. I'm like, okay. So I sit down on a tree stump and I just wait for like 30 minutes, and I send my friend my location, and my friend calls me and he enters the forest while on the phone with me, and then he gets lost because he has no idea where he's going, and we're both lost in this forest for like a good 20, 30 more minutes, and then we finally find each other and find our way out of the forest. And yeah, in all, I was in that forest for a very long time, or at least it felt like hours. So yeah, not really a good time to be in a dark forest while you're tripping balls and having an anxiety attack. Not a good time. But yeah, me and my friend found our way out. We went back to my friend's house. We walked there. He lived pretty close. We hung out there for the night and kind of just calmed down. And yeah, in the end, I was fine. Everybody was fine. That's all that matters. But yeah, moral of the story is, don't do any of the shit I just talked about. Definitely not a good idea at all. But yeah, that's pretty much end of the story time. In the end, everything was all good. I thought this was a pretty crazy story. I hope you guys did as well. If you liked this video, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace. Like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead, and now they know they're fucked.